Senseonics stock. It's ticker SENS. SENS. This is by request. We got due diligence, balance sheets, business model, got the technical trade charts, and there's some really cool trade setups on this guy. It's pretty volatile and it's doing a formation that I like a lot right now. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications. Let's go. Alright, here's Senseonics. And let's do due diligence and then the trade setup. So they IPO'd in 2016, around what, $3 ish, somewhere in this range. Let's say 250, and we're trading near that range again. And so this company makes a diabetic blood sugar reading. It's like an implant with a dongle, and it'll send your health reading to your phone, so you can read your blood sugar on your phone. They have a 90-day device that is already approved. It's been approved for like 3 years, since 2018, and the new FDA approval they have in, which is kind of their current news, is a 180-day version of the same thing. It's already approved in Europe. Probably will get approved. So I take a look at their balance sheet. Oh, I think I have it. Yeah, so they don't have any quarterly reports from 2021 yet. So I just pulled up their quarterly from the end of last year. So coming into the end of last year, they had 35 million total current assets, and the current liabilities is only 10. So they have no short-term bankruptcy risk or anything like that. So anyone who's shorting this company on bankruptcy risk is probably making a mistake. And yeah, so Senseonics, yeah, so this is an interesting chart. So this has nothing to do with the virus or any of that. I think I'll throw this video in my medical playlist anyway. But those are all virus-related stocks, like mRNA or something. I can look at that one too. But yeah, so this thing was bearish from 2018, and this area here's the COVID crash. So I mean, it was already bearing, and it did do like a little pullback on the Feb 20, and continued to bear out until the end of last year. So this is not following the market. It is pretty hypey. It's a cheap stock. I mean, it's been down to 35 cents area, and then it's jumped up to $5. So let me zoom in a little closer to an hourly chart. Take a look at the shape of this thing. So we got a really good set of bull flags here on the way up, which is the sideways consolidation into a bubble trend line. We got 1 flag, 2 flags, and 2.5 flags, right, and the 3rd flag crashed, and then we rolled over with a lower top. So this is the look of a bad flag. When you pull back and then start rolling over, that's the dangerous time to get out of a bullish move. You break the trend line and roll, which is fine. That's old news. But now we have a pretty good bearish resistance line that we picked up here. Like, that's a ton of grinding on this line. We're just poking it now. It may break out now and it may not. So on the bullish side, because this does look like a bull flag to me, quite often you'll double tap the backside. So let's just say it does break out now. You're looking for a breakout about the same width as this. Probably would break out more vertical. About the same width as this flag. So somewhere in here, 280-ish. And then you want to pull back with 1 or 2 top tests on top of the flag, and then that's a bullish breakout setup, and the trade entry on that is this area on top of the flag, because you don't want to buy this thing, and it's not investment advice, just how I look at these kind of trades is you don't want to buy around this resistance point and have it drop on you. You want to buy at support, which doesn't happen until you break out and backtest. So that's my look at if it breaks out now, and I don't think it's going to, because it's just, this is not looking like a breakout. This looks like a false breakout with 2 stabs to me. I think more likely this thing is going to come down back across the channel. You'll get the double bottom test, and then this is support. And you can enter this at the bottom, which is a killer good entry, and then you can get the breakout, and then you can get the back test, and there's another chance to enter the trade. and then you can take off. And that's the trade setup that I would be looking for on this stock. I did check the stock out. There are call options on this thing. It only has monthly options, and the increments are either in dollars or 50 cents, which is relatively big increments for this stock. If you're trading this thing, the commissions on a $2 stock cut into your profits a lot because you have to buy 100 or 500 contracts to like have a reasonable trade, and you have to pay a commission on each contract. So maybe the longer term time durations are more expensive per option. That might be a good way to do it on this. And I don't see a trade entry this week. Next week I'll be seeing probably on this guy if it's going to set up. But this looks like a good stock with a good balance sheet, and it has a viable product. It has not huge accounts payable, but it does have an actual product that sells that has accounts payable. And it's sort of a niche market in diabetes. And so the company looks fine. This thing looks like a bull flag, and it can take off on another run like this. I mean, it's cheap. It's $2. I mean, who knows how high this thing could go, but just on the technicals, I think this stock is pretty cool, and I'm going to keep this on my list of stocks to check out. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for Senseonics. Oh yeah, mRNA I could take another look at. I did an mRNA video, I don't know, 6 months ago or something like that. It became one of the actual COVID vaccines, so this thing is no joke now. But let's take a look at this chart. So this thing was bulling since before the COVID crash. So we had this trend line coming into COVID, and that was about here. It did a little pullback on the COVID crash with everything else. And then, it's trying to develop a vaccine, so it got the huge hype blast. It got a big consolidation. So the idea here is, well, are we still bulling up a support trend line? Because this thing looks a little bit questionable to me, the pattern that it's doing now. Maybe this is just a corridor or something. Let's see. For mRNA, it's consolidating up. This is not a great look. You know what? I think this is the thing I'm going to draw on this. It actually looks like we're getting, and this is the COVID vaccine, so this company is legit now, but it looks to me actually like we did a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now the 5 wave is this consolidating wedge, uphill wedge, and that does not look good. That is what's known as an ending diagonal pattern, and that quite often results in a long-term reversal. This is a bearish ending diagonal. So you do the 4 wave, and then the 5 goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Boom. To the downside. Right? And on that note, this is the same pattern that we just got in Bitcoin when Bitcoin fell out. And this pattern can be a serious long-term reversal pattern. That's pretty scary. So that's actually what I'm looking at on mRNA. Is this thing going to consolidate into an ending diagonal wedge pattern? I might short this thing in a month from now. And that could time with us topping actually against the top of the big bull channel in the stock market. Let me go look at Bitcoin because it did this pattern. What's Bitcoin doing now? Oh, Bitcoin's falling. Lovely. Okay, so let's check out this ending diagonal pattern. So Bitcoin did it. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then you get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Boom, and the ending diagonal to the downside. And that thing can go farther down than that for sure. But we just got a little pullback here. So the technical setup on Bitcoin doesn't look great as far as this kind of medium to long-term tech setup. But all of the other kind of outlooks on Bitcoin look really good. Like Germany has just legalized institutional holding of Bitcoin now, and we have tons of companies buying it up. The U.S. financial system's completely taking it in. So I mean, there's ridiculous amounts of money that can come into Bitcoin now, and there's not an ETF yet. Oh, we got a little hop here. All right, so let me do. Yeah, anyway, on the 4-year cycle on Bitcoin, it looks like we're taking off to the upside until December. That's like the 4-year cycle pretty much always ends December, the 4th year, which is December this year. And the upside target, I don't know, is like 1 to 200 is kind of where I have it. Some people are saying like 1,000. I think that's a little too high, but I think breaking 100 is pretty easily possible by December this year. And Bitcoin has actually been kind of leading market pullbacks, not following them. So that's kind of interesting. Like if the S&P gets in trouble, I don't know how Bitcoin reacts, but we'll definitely have to take a look at that if the market starts topping and doing weird stuff. But anyway, let's look at this from a bullish perspective. This is a pattern called a higher floor, which is just basically you jump up on top of a neckline and then you roll a bigger roll and jump on top again. So jump on it, right? And the second time you grab support and you break out. That's a higher floor kind of pattern. And it looks like what we're doing, we're coming into the hourly moving average right here also. And so this is bullish until it's not. And if it's not bullish, what we have is a monstrous gap that we just painted. And the bearish pattern that can happen here is called a false breakout of death. And that thing can just go like boom. We painted a stab here. And what you would usually do on a false breakout is you get to the stab and then you go farther. So that bearish move would be more in alignment with an ending diagonal pattern, because you would expect a bigger pullback on an ending diagonal than what we've done so far. And so this is a really critical spot on Bitcoin, actually. So we'll have to see what happens here. But yeah, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I'm sitting on a bunch of call options right now on Ledger X. Not a bunch, but anyway, I have call options on Bitcoin. And yeah, this thing is looking interesting right now, but bullish until it's not. And let's see, on the daily, yeah, so we bounced off this daily moving average, and so that would be coming in here a little bit higher next time at around 50 if we came back down again. So you have to get through that, you have to get through the peak. But if we got past the bottom of this and put in a lower low, that's downside to 40. Breaking 40 would get real scary, downside to 20. And that, you know, technically is fair game right here, man. Because look, we gapped out of here above the 20, and that's where the previous peak on Bitcoin is. And so that's a big gap, and we have a gap here above the 40. So if we take out the 120-day moving average and put in a lower low here, I would put an immediate target at 40. That's the top of this flag. That closes this gap. That's a killer buy zone. If that doesn't hold, 20 would be a ridiculous buy zone. Yeah, anyway, that's Bitcoin. That's an ending diagonal pattern. That's what it looks like when it pulls back. It just freaking falls out of there. And the S&P is, what's it doing? Is it bullying again? It's been acting crazy lately. Yeah, look at this. Crazy stuff. All right, so this is, it's just bulling up the bull channel right now, which is fine. And we have a resistance area right here at the top of the little bull channel, and we'll probably come into that this weekend. And it loves to just fall across the channel when it hits it. If it wants to break down, it can break down farther out of the channel when it hits it. So that's a risky spot here. That should be happening this weekend. And then sort of the more generic thing that it looks like it's doing is just bullying the channel for now. We're getting weak dollar moves. It's just bullying, and we could just bull up here to this big bull channel. And the top of the big bull channel here is where we get in trouble. Big time trouble. So especially if we get out here past the end of the little bull channel, then we got no kind of support. And I mean, the next support is way down here in the 30s, and that's not even very good support. Low 30s, and then we have like big time downside lines. Let me just go to a weekly and show instead of squeezing this thing, or the daily chart. Yeah, anyway, that's kind of the look. I mean, we're up here at the top of the bull channel, right? So if we reject off the top of the big bull channel like we have every time previously, crossing this channel is quite a down move. And then if we break under this thing, then it gets scary, like down here scary to this kind of convergence area. Yeah, in the 20s, right, which nobody expects, and that would be a huge market crash. And if that was happening, you'd be hearing news like, oh, you know, this hedge fund is blowing up, this bank is blowing up, like the Fed can't bail them out, blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of news you'd be hearing while that stuff's going on. But as for now, it doesn't look like anything like that's happening right now. Right now, it looks like there's margin loans flowing. We got new money coming into the market. We're bulling up the channel. Everything's crazy and good. We're getting weak dollar moves here underneath the bullish lines. And so I am considering becoming bearish on the dollar. But I got to see one more up move and see what we do. The next up move on the dollar, if it fails, I'm going to get bearish. But the last time we broke under here, we went bullish, breaking under again. It looks short-term bearish, you know, medium-term neutral. Can't really tell which direction it's going yet. But I'm about to get bearish on the dollar. And bearish on the dollar means we could go up, not just up the bull channel, but we could break out of the little bull channel and we could get into trouble earlier, basically. And there's a possibility we can break out of the top of this thing. Although we've never attempted to do that on this bull channel, we definitely did do that on the .com bubble, so it's possible. But the technicals aren't saying that's likely right now. But it's saying we're likely to get, you know, up here. So that's the general market. GME, this is the trade I've been doing today. I did videos showing this breakout and everything. And I've got lines on the 1 minute chart. So the meme stocks are doing crazy stuff right now, which is kind of fun. This is a 1 minute chart of the breakout. So we had a month and a half long consolidation that we just broke out of. You know, a couple of days ago, we rejected off the 194. And now this is a really cool setup here. So yeah, we came down off the 194, which is the big neckline that's really hard to break on GME. We've been stuck under here for months. And this is a false breakout. We get the double bottom crossover, which is pretty strong. We get a false breakout, right? And then we get this rolling bottom, which is amazing. A rolling bottom double tap into a big breakout, right? And this is broken out beyond the width of the channel, so it's already out of here. And we're running into a little bit of neckline resistance here. We'll see if this consolidates in here or if it breaks out to the upside. But this looks like a really killer, a miniature bull flake. I mean, this is a 1 minute chart with just a few days of trading action on it. But this thing is rolling and breaking out without a back test, which can sometimes go like this. Since we're in a big short squeeze situation here. If we can get a parabolic rollout and break the 194, then we can friggin' take a huge move up here to the 333 as the top neckline from the previous bubble, and so that's the next target. It's just break the 194, get to the 333. Then we just gotta take a look at what it looks like. That's huge resistance at 333. You know, I don't think we'll just fly through that. I'm pretty sure we'll hit that pretty hard and do some crazy stuff. We'll have to do more setups to break that if the short squeeze starts exploding. But this, I don't know. has like a pretty good odds. This has probably like a 1 in 10 chance of rolling up and blasting, uh, not just breaking the 194, but like blasting to the 333 in the short term, like putting in a huge rip, like 1 in 10 chance here, and it has pretty good odds of getting to the 194 because that's the that's where we go. No matter where we are, we end up at the 194. And then the other meme stocks are doing similar stuff. ANC had really bad news coming out. They failed on their earnings, which is, who cares that much, but they just announced they're going to start issuing a bunch of shares, which is bad, and it just came down and came down. So I bought it, of course. I love bad news. I love down news and bad news. That's where you buy it, but not really, not for that reason. I bought it because it did a technical breakout, just like I was pointing at on the SENS chart. This is the kind of thing you want to see. You want to see 2 taps on the wrong side of the channel, then you want to see a breakout the width of the channel, pull back into support. This one had a symmetrical triangle, so I love that area more than the top of the channel. Just because that's what you do on a symmetrical triangle is you come right back to the nose, boom. But if you go in on a 1-minute chart, you can see we got a good double bottom right here. And now we're getting big volume. Yeah, we got a double bottom reversal, and now we got big volume coming in on the green. So that looks great for ANC. Cost, similar pattern. It's that like, month and a half consolidation thing that all the meme stocks are doing. It did the little breakout, pretty good shape and size for a breakout. Came down, and it may be picking up a little support bubble trend line. And so all of these stocks can potentially take off at the same time. There's BlackBerry as well. I don't ever look at that one. What is that chart doing? Yeah, this one's not really doing the same stuff. So BlackBerry is whatever. It's not following the other meme stocks. I don't care about it. What else is going on? Oh, Tesla and ARK. Yeah, I said they were looking scary. I didn't short them, but they are having a bad, week. They're coming down. Tesla, I drew these out on a daily because I wanted to get a more bullish picture for everyone. Tesla beat earnings and then and then crashed, which is ridiculous. But I have this bullish kind of trend line that I saw when I went out to the long term that actually makes me like Tesla a little bit more than I was before. But right now we're just consolidating, and we have the the daily moving average 120-day coming in. So Tesla is just consolidating and looking weird. I drew just like the big zone it's in. It's got another week or two maybe of chopping around, but if this thing breaks under all this stuff, under the daily moving averages, like that's going to get pretty bearish, especially if that coincides with the market pullback. Tesla doesn't need the market to pull back. The next target's the 420, which I've joked about plenty. Like on this set of pullbacks, I was thinking it might roll down to the 420, like right here, but we ended up consolidating. But if we get another bearish trade setup on a breakdown, that's the target, is 420, same thing. That's where the big neckline consolidation was on the front side of the bubble. That's where you come down to on the back side. And then the next target is, long-term bull support down here is, man, like 150. Like if the stock market is crashing, Tesla can come to 150. I don't think it's gonna come to like 40. Although this support area is actually where most of the other automakers are trading in that like $20 to $60 range. That's where most of the auto companies, marginally profitable auto companies, actually trade, is in this range. Tesla's up here, tapping 900, and everyone else is down here at 40. And it, like, fundamentally wouldn't surprise me for Tesla to be trading in the 40 to 100 range like next year. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But that would have to be in conjunction with probably a bigger market crash. I don't think Tesla is going to do bearish, insane bearish stuff, while the S&P is strong, while a bunch of margin loans are falling. But if the freaking loans stop coming into the market, things go down. Those are the targets on the bear side. On the bull side, and this is why I painted this line, is because we're on top of a bullish kind of thing still until it breaks down. We got a little too hot here and pulled back, but that doesn't mean it's over. Yeah, so on the bull side, we just want to get out of the top of this stuff, and then we have to get through the previous necklines. So there's resistance, here where we broke down, and the previous top, we've got the double necklines to get through. That's the problem that we're getting with GME, is these double necklines. And get through the first one, and then the second one's annoying too. But if Tesla gets above all this stuff, that could be out in the middle, July or something. If we're still trending this way and breaking new highs, then Tesla could get pretty bullish looking. So anyway, that's Tesla having a bad week. ARK's pretty similar. It's pulling back. It has less technicals. It actually looks more scary than Tesla because we're already underneath the dailies. And we already have a false breakout to the downside here. So actually a bearish setup on ARK could happen a little bit sooner than that. But we'll probably just consolidate a little bit more. We'll see what it does. Oh yeah, I was checking out AG. I did a video yesterday on this. I'll follow up now. It was a 1 hour chart, I think. Yeah, so this is AG Silver Miner. And I had a line like here. I believe that's where I was. Yeah. And so yesterday I crossed the channel and I was seeing if it was going to break out or consolidate some more. But it's actually pulled down to where it might be actually breaking out to the downside here. So I don't like this spot. It might be here. It doesn't look like it's there. Because look at where the double bottom is here. That's right on it, and then you get an over and under here. So I think a trade entry on this is I sold what I had on this, and I'm gonna have to see this actually break out the width of the channel, the same kind of thing, and come get support. If we do that move, I'll buy it. But I don't really like a short on this thing. Because we have all the short-term inflationary indicators, and we also have a huge channel, a long-term support channel. There's just not a lot of downside before we pick up pretty good support and like really big support here. So this isn't like a short trade that I like at all, and I don't like where it is now, but that could change by tomorrow. Anyway, that's AG Silver Miner, and silver's still consolidating. Gold's still in a bearish pattern. Let's get out to like a daily. So we haven't had a gold breakout. If we get a gold breakout, silver will probably break out with it. Oil is doing a scary topping pattern, but I will not short oil on a weak dollar. Yeah, look, that looks awful. It looks like we just did a crisscrossing topping pattern, and we're back testing and just it looks bad, but I can't do it. I can't short it while the dollar is making a bear move. Like, oil hates a strong dollar. If we get a strong dollar move, I'll probably short oil. FCX is pulling back. What was I on hourlies? There may be a trade entry coming in. This would be a long trade entry that I'll probably just look for maybe a buy and hold on FCX, and this is miners, minerals, and basic materials. This is the sector that I expect to do the best if tech sucks. And it looks like tech sucks right now, and it looks like this thing's still bulling. So this is kind of my long play right now for a generic hold position. It's the momentum leader in all of the basic materials, miners, minerals, metals, all that stuff. Well, I haven't checked out Dig in a while. Is it doing boring sideways stuff? Sort of, yeah. Okay, so yeah, Dig maybe is like consolidating around here somewhere. I'm trying to find the line. just likes to consolidate in very, very boring, very flat sideways patterns for months at a time. And it might do that again for a couple months. We'll see, but it threw it one step, so it could do more of a normal looking bull flag, but yeah, it looks like it's just wobbling around, what, 0.28 right now. Boring. That's probably good. We did a lot of stuff. Alright, I think that'll do it. The SENS Senseonics is a pretty cool chart. And I bet we get a trade set up soon on this guy. And all my lines have disappeared. I don't know why. But that doesn't matter. Alright, so not investment advice, just a couple of trading scenarios, some stuff to look out for. There's actually some pretty interesting stuff going on right now, so a lot of trade opportunities available this week, probably next week. And so happy trading. Oh, there we go. Okay.